those magnificent men in their flying machines. They go up to the up, up, they go down to the up, down.
Hi, right, okay, this is a video. This is sort of like a video on this part. It's not really a dispute on it, what do you call it, it's not the right word. This is an extra that wouldn't be on the build normally, but I put it in because I spoke to Just Engines and other people online and stuff, and Just Engines asking advice about, it states on the kit that you'd use a 55 OS 55 4-stroke, that would be right up front, which is fair enough. But when I asked them, they recommended I go a bit higher. So the only thing else I've got left is a 70, or whatever it is, a 70, I think it's a 72, something, or no, it's a 74 stroke SC. So I want a bit more power like I do with them all. Now, okay, there is, with everything, there is concessions you have to put up with. You're making this, shoehorning this engine in. It's like if you were in the old days and doing custom cars and putting V6s in cars that only had a little 1100 engines. You've got to cut and shut and everything else. So this is basically what you're doing with this. So really, if you're going to use the right engine size, then this makes this video, just don't bother watching it. Right. So anyway, here we go. So as you can see, if you can get my nice camera lady to pan around it, this is the finished product. I've put the engine further back. Okay, this is to allow the cowling to go on and have that extra space, which I'll show you now, and I'll come to all this in a sec. So when your cowling goes on, you can see there, if you get the camera, you can see that you've got the front there that protrudes enough, okay, so you can get your prop on and everything else. Okay, so it looks simple enough, but there is a lot of little bits. So we'll start at the beginning. First thing you need to do is just like, this is the bit that came with the kit. My advice is, if you to make a template of this, draw another one out so you've got one spare. This hole, I might add, was already there with the kit, which is quite handy. So that's your centre hole, which is where your engine prop liner, you know, the camshaft button, or whatever you want to call that junk. Right, so what you do is you get your piece of ply. Here's just a spare. You measure obviously the width again inside between the two sides of the fuse, and the depth. Okay, once you've got the depth, and I did it so that everything's got to line up at the bottom here. So if you look at the bottom, it's more or less there where you want it. Okay, so you got it at the bottom there, and that I guided it from the bottom, not the top. Okay, you can choose your choice, because as you can see, I writ on the top there, so you know where you are. Just guys. So once you've got it right and it fits in nice, which obviously ours is just a rough cut, you got it all. There's your blank bit of wood. Okay, and what I do is you got it at the bottom like so. I mean, again, as I keep saying, there's other people that do it differently, but this is the way I do it. Okay, so you've got it lined up at the bottom, because that's where you're going by this. Then pilot drill your hole through using the original hole that they give you in the kit, the measurement there, and that will give you the centre line. So that centre line is where your prop line is. Okay, so that'll run line, because your engine will fit on top of the mount. Now obviously I'm just using this mount as a guide. So you get that, you got your engine, get your engine you're using, put that on. Alright, okay, don't pre-drill any holes, just put the engine on to get a rough mark idea where you're going, where it's positioned in there. Okay, once you got that in, right, what I tend to do, I mean obviously this is all rough, I'll just do it. Okay, first draw around the engine mount. Okay, that's how I do it, because there's a lot of playing with it, and once you've got it in, right, you've got it in situ there, then drill your holes through. Okay, so you got it all in, you have it all bolted in, just the mount. Okay, once you've got your mount in, like I've done, okay, what I've done is it's like, you've got your mount in, and that's when you get to play with it, because you obviously want to get your distance with your engine and your mount, you know, where it's sitting, so you've got to get your cowl right. So obviously, as you see here, I've slotted it in, and you've got room to play with it, to move it backwards and forwards. So once you got it in, and you know it's sitting where you want it on the mount there, see? So you mark it, and you mark it, just mark it, position it there and there. Measure the gap between there and there, which is 20mm. So 20mm at the bottom. So you got to make sure this back firewall plate is straight. Okay, so you got that in, so your engine's running nice and straight. And once you've got that in, right, epoxy resin that in, white glue it. I've heard comments saying white glue is as strong as epoxy resin. I don't believe that, but anyway, I epoxy resin these in, 5-minute epoxy, gives you time to play with it, clamp it, job done. Then obviously it's just reinforcements. I've put in because it's obviously the main sort there, so you know it's where the power's going to be pulling the plane to bits. Okay, so that's in. This little bit came with a kit, so this is just to give you that firewall there, that former even. It's just so you can get your when you're putting your sides on. Okay, I took this one out just to show you what I mean. So there you go. Right. So once you've done that, then once you've got that, this I might add. That's a good idea for this, because you're going to have to, if you get the camera in the back, you have to cut this in and out to fit around the engine. You know, because that's just the way it is. And even if you had it, I believe, even if you had the proper engine that's recommended with this kit, you would still have to do that similarly, because obviously it's got a back on it and all the carbs and stuff all sit inside. So you're at the stage now, everything's in right. So then you got, don't forget obviously when it comes to when you put your engine on, before you bolt everything on, before you bolt this on, right, you know, you obviously cut out the hole in the middle so you can get all your tubes for your fuel and everything else. Various tubes in there, and obviously look where your throttle is on your engine. Mine happens to be on that side, so you got throttles in there somewhere. So you make sure you cut out your pilot hole for the throttle cable to go through. Okay, so that's all ready, so you don't have to worry about that afterwards. Alright, because that'll be a real hard work trying to get cutting holes when it's all glued in. So that's all pre-done. We've done all that. So that's that. That's that backing plate. So that's everything taken care of there. So the front bit. Right, this obviously is going to be onto there, but if you notice this, hence why I said cut out a template, okay, because once you've got that fits perfect onto the back of there, beautiful. Okay, now again to this one, okay, you can either, this came with a kit, that was there, so that popped out, you know, but the way I see it is that handy bit of thing to keep. So you can either do it two ways. I mean, I'm not too fussed really, but I'm going to cut it out that, you can either cut it out to that shape, leaving that there, and it'll fit straight over the engine, okay, and obviously cut out the bit you needed there, you know, which would be something more or less, where the top of the carbon pipes and exhaust or whatever it is, we'll come to that. So you chop that out, so it all fits in, so you can glue that up to the firewall. This firewall will glue up to the back first former, that makes sense. See, so it all goes in quite nice, okay. Now the other thing you've got to look at, and this is the reason why I rang Just Engines. I might add Just Engines are a firm that do customise, I mean I'm sure everybody knows, but there might be people that don't. In Britain in a way I should say, it's a Just Engines are a firm that do, they can do modifications on your engines, like customise your exhaust and stuff, which is dead handy when it comes to this. So I've spoke to the chaps there, and they said like as long as you keep, they can give you like 45-degree knuckles for the exhaust itself, you know, for the silencers and that. So you get that, and they give you a flexi pipe so you can get it all in nice, so it doesn't protrude outside your cowling. Because obviously with this one, the silencer that's on this will obviously stick out, but you don't want that on your model. No matter what you do, it's going to go, even if you have the smaller engine. So they give you a 45 degrees, so you can either screw that strap so it sits in like that, which is ideal. So I might add this is loose purely because once you put all this engine in, there's no getting that out. Okay, you have to undo the engine, but that's sod's law. That's the way it goes. I mean, if you're doing it, as I probably say, properly, where you're putting the engine straight up front, then you can obviously just, that would be come out, you know, be space, adequate space. But this is why I said earlier, got concessions of when you're doing shoehorning things in, you have to live with certain things. So when the time comes, I've ordered the parts from Just Engines, I'll go get it in. I'll take the engine out again, you know, and then it's only 4 bolts. Take the engine out and put the exhaust on. So everything else. So you need to, your main firewall, that needs to be all addressed. Cut out that part there for the engine, you know, which is nothing really, you know. It's not a big deal, is it? You know, this is not a structural problem anymore. This is just a fascia thing that holds the cowling on, basically. That's it. So that is nothing to worry about. That's the easy bit. So I think that explains most of it. I don't think I've missed anything. And I might add, I mean it's whatever ply, but I've used 10mm ply because, one, it's strong, and two, with this particular model, an actual real aeroplane, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure people will, but it needs an awful lot of weight up front because, like most of the sopwith planes are the same. Pups, camels, you know, they all X amount of weight up front. So the bigger the engine, obviously got a bit more weight up front, so that's great. Okay, so that's a added bonus. Plus with the weights here, and I've made enough room. What I'm trying to incorporate is the battery. I've made it so this battery, look at that, brand new, will slide up into there. Okay, see, look, so it'll slide into there. So everything's as much up front as possible. Okay, so that you got the weight as much up the front, because the CG on this thing is unreal. The other thing, the only one last thing I might add, because you've put your shoehorny engine in, you have to, like, where you're going to have your tuner peg for the engine, you have to cut a hole out. No one's going to see that, so it doesn't matter how bad it is. Okay, but you must get that in there, because obviously that's where you need to tune the engine. Okay, and I mean the rest of it is like nothing there really. That's it all done. So that is probably my best bit of the day, because I really was contemplating this. The other little things you have when you put this on, yeah, people have said to me in the past, this is the other cam cover is going to stick out, but you know what? Hence why I said, people will say, why don't you turn the engine the other way round? Yeah, you could turn the engine the other way round and have all this upside down. Fair enough. And then I mean, I did think about that, but either way, you're going to cut the cowling, so I don't mind it so much, because this is getting sprayed and colour coded with the plane, so that'll just be on top. So you know what you live with. I'm happy with that. But yeah, by all means, turn the engine upside down. It's just reverse of everything I've said, you know, and that'll be that. You know, fine. The other thing again is good old Martin Thompson, bless him. You give me a set of these. This is an automatic ignition, you know, glow plug starter. So I'm going to use on this particular model to save the hassle. So you know that'll be good. Or you can use the other version. The I've got two of them. I didn't know that. The other version is that one. I'm sure you've seen it, where you just, it's an extension from the actual glow plug, goes in, and then you bolt it to the side of the fuse somewhere, so make it easier for you to get your doodah on, you know, your glow starter, the warmer. So, you know, that's what we're doing. But I'm going to use the automatic one on this, because I want to hide as much as possible. Okay, so I think that's about it. If I've missed anything, I don't know. And by the way, thanks for the comments about the chaps who said, like, do cap the ribs, which I was going to do, but I just wanted opinion, you know. And that guy sent me the picture of the camel being, the real sopwith camel being built. That is just something unique, you know. Absolutely fascinating. I wish he'd actually done it as a video, not just stop camera pictures, you know. You know what I mean? Absolutely. It's just a joy to look at him, let alone. So anyway, that, ladies and gentlemen, is that. Okay? And I don't think there's anything more until I get on with it. And the next stage, I think, is... well, what is the next stage? Probably cap the wings, if I can be asked. And sort out the fuel tank area and stuff like that, and servos. And then I can concentrate. There's not a lot, you know, there's not a lot left really complicated to do, you know, except maybe the sides on the fuse. But other than that, I think it's getting there. Okay? Right then, bye.
Those magnificent men, those magnificent men, those magnificent men.